הרי ג'ון עמו.
Я смотрю.
ורוח קדים. רוח מזרחית נשא את הארבה, ובא כשנגדו מצרים בדרומית מערבית, עתה כמו שמפורש במקום אחר. ואחריו לא יהיה כן, שיהיה בימי יואל. He says there is one of the books called Yoel. Did you ever heard about such a book? It's one of our 24 books. How many books do we have in Torah?
24.
5 books of Moses, 5 חומשי Torah, and then we have 19 other books, נביאים and כתובים. One of them נזבה יצא יואל.
Total 24.
יואל. יש ממש יואל בו. כמוהו לא נהיה מן העולם. למדנו שהיה כבד משל משה. He says there was another הרבה, locust, in his days, against the goyim. Miracle for the Jewish people. But the level it was in Egypt, he says there is never going to be such a level again in history. בכיצד נאמר ואחריו לא יכן, אלא כל הרבה היה כבד מצד עניין אחר. כי של יואל היה על ידי מניין הרבה שהיו יחד. כי של יואל היה כבד משל משה על ידי מינין הרבה שהיו יחד. שהם הרבה ילק חסיל גזם. Wow. It says during the days of Yoel, there was also a plague of הרבה. Yoel is one of the people we have in our 19 books. We have 5 books of Moses, 5 חומשי Torah, and we have another 19 books, נביאים כתובים.
Yoel is man's book?
One of them is Yoel called. Book of Yoel. You can Google that. Man.
In Corona time in Jerusalem.
Rabbi Yoel, the Tattenbaum, the Satmar Rebbe, the biggest Satmar Rebbe. His name is Yoel. He's buried upstate New York. People that go to his grave see a lot of miracles, they say. They have different court cases, problems, this law alenu. He's a big tzaddik that... you been over there? Upstate New York. I think Monroe, something like that.
Yeah,
I think I was once also.
Monroe?
Yeah. Upstate New York. Google it. Rabbi Yoel Tattelbaum is the Satmar Rebbe, previous one. He's a big tzaddik was. Karochi, so he's named after his Yoel. It's the same book. So he writes over here, אבל הרבה של משה לא היה אלא של מין אחד, וריבוי גדול של מין אחד, כמוהו לא היה ולא יהיה. He says, during the days of Yoel, there was also הרבה, locust, yeah? But over there was 4 types of this locust. And he gives the names over here. הרבה, ילק, חסיל, גזם. It says, so why the Torah says that as the הרבה was in the days of Egypt, never such an הרבה anymore. During the days of Yoel, it was even worse.
It was different.
It says over there was 4 types, each one a little bit. In Moshe days was 1 type, so many of them. So such an amount. There was never ever in history from 1 type hitting one place.
But they're all kosher type? Jews could eat them?
It's kosher, yeah.
All of them?
Yeah.
Meaning the Moshe type and also your...
This I don't know. This there is science. You need to have 4 legs. Need to have the legs coming out of a certain place and the wings.
It was so big.
And you need tradition, masoret, to allow it. That's the bottom line. It's machloket, but I'm telling you the bottom line.
By some midrash, I saw that they're saying that was so big. These Arbe is so giant that they close all the Mitzrayim.
Yeah. It says, v'chisait en haaretz. You could not see the land of the floor. That's how big and quantity also they were. Okay, kol yerek. He says, and they ate all the yerek. What is yerek? All the greens. Every green. Look, go outside. Look how much green we have, Rabotai. Did you ever appreciate the green you have around you? Huh?
Yeah.
Did you ever appreciate just the fact that you have green color around you? You know how much important it is for your calmness? Which color calms down your spirit?
How about green?
Green.
Also, that's a dollar.
Of course, I appreciate dollar green.
Okay, say the dollar. But right now they made the gray, the dollar. They made $100 already gray. It's already not gray.
Blue.
Oh, yeah?
Blue, gray, whatever, yeah. It's not
Pastarel, значит.
pastel.
Everybody appreciates the green.
But the colors, Rabotai, the green color is the color that calms down the spirit. That's why many hospitals, they turn coloring their walls green. Because relaxation is very important for healing process.
Gives you healing. Green is a healing.
Manam зеленый, по-моему.
Yeah. You need her to relax?
Yeah.
Tell her green is the color to go. Okay? אומר אני שים סוף, I am קצת במערב, כנגד. So now all the Jewish people, וימהר פרעה לקרוא למשה ולאהרון, ויאמר חטאתי לאדוני אלוהיכם ולכם. Paro in this Makkah says, I made a mistake to your God
Locust.
and to you. את מכת הרבה. ועתה עשה נא חטאתי, אך הפעם, please, he says, forgive my mistake this time. והעתירו לאדוני אלוהיכם, pray to your God. ויסר מעלי רק את המוות הזה. And tell him to remove this death away from me. Look how Paro, how much he suffered. And it says, this is death on
Why
earth.
is saying what is dead? He's not dead, he's eating the green stuff.
There's nothing. Imagine right now you're sitting here, all over
Listen.
Tarakani. Walls, floor, everything, chair, everything you see around is just
2 years ago.
Tarakani. How do you say this? Eta?
Hotel.
Jukim. Just imagine this.
Grasshopper.
It's not pleasant to be in such a place.
איפה זה היה לפני שנתיים שלוש? מלא ג'וקים באיראן, איפה זה היה?
In Mecca. In Mecca it was. I saw this video. It was nasty.
Везде.
In Mecca, you saw?
Yeah, it was a few months ago.
Lot
This
of
big
Jukim came out of the rock. You saw?
Walking on the top of the people's house.
Juke,
A
Juke.
few months ago. It was 2
Cockroaches,
years ago.
Okay, Yamasuf.
Это было во время короны.
Joke is what? Hebrew?
Yeah, it's Israeli, it's not Hebrew. I told you today in Israel they're not speaking Hebrew, they speak Israeli. The real Hebrew was they messed it up. Not they messed it up. When they established, there was one man, I told you, established the land of Israel. He had a lot of influence in the government. His name was Eliezer Lerner, no Mashpara. But, and then later on he changed his name to Eliezer Ben Yehuda. It sounds more proper. And he was a big Rasha. It was one of the reform movement.
I thought it was the herself.
And he purposely forced that we should convert the Jewish language. And the schools in Israel, unfortunately, the kids don't know nothing. They say, Meyased HaSafa Ivrit, the one that established the Jewish language. Ah, what a respect he received for being such a criminal. It was big Rasha, Mamash Rasha. He used to compose new words, and write them purposely on Shabbat. All week he doesn't write, Shabbat he writes it. And he used to convince the teenagers, he used to say, you want to have girls? He used to bring girls, pay them. He said this way he's going to bring the teenagers. And he used to say, this is the new language you have to teach everybody. It's all history, it's all documentary, you can all check it. How do you convince guys to come to a certain place? You bring girls. How do you bring the girls? You pay them. And like this, the girls used to come to a certain place. They used to bring this way the guys. And the guys said, your fathers came from Taiman, they're all primitive. From Morocco, they're all primitive. They all don't know how to speak English. This is the new language. That's how we have to. And he used to force it into the system. One of his biggest success stories was to convert the word melacha to work, not to creation. Melacha on Shabbat means don't work on Shabbat. So if you close your store, you don't work, you keep Shabbat. But if you drive your car, if you write, if you cut hair, if you do this, if you smoke a cigarette, you make halayet, you turn on the light, what's the big deal, Rabbi?
That's avodah.
What's the problem?
That's avodah.
I'm not earning from it. The Torah said don't make melacha, which means don't work. That's how they understood it. He converted it. There's many more terms that he converted, purposely. And unfortunately, he had his biggest success. He had the guy that was the Misrad HaChinuch, the education department of Israel, was under his domain, under his ruling. And he forced that language into the children's schooling.
What was it before?
It was a Hebrew, real Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh. Yeah. And he forced this new language into the system. And I asked to any Israeli, what is melacha? Don't do melacha on Shabbat. What does it mean? Don't work. God bless the Jewish people. You know how many people in Israel don't work on Shabbat? 90% of Israel is not working on Shabbat. So imagine if they would just understand the right terminology, what is melacha, most of them also will not break Shabbat.
Maybe he saved them.
He didn't save them at all, no. Purposely. His children, he got married to Goya himself, to Christian. Yeah. It was Rasha, big Rasha was.
Maybe through that, he still saves a lot of people.
He didn't save, opposite. He threw out a lot of people from religion. The religious people that came to Israel, they threw them out. He said you cannot be you want to keep religion at home. Outside, you're a normal person. Normal. Means if you're religious, not normal. Be a Jew, תהיה יהודי בביתך וגוי בצאתך. That was his statement. Be a Yehudi indoors, goy outdoors. No kippah, no tzitzit. The Teimanim used to come into Israel with the peot. They forced to cut it off. What is this? Yeah, it was very, very bad. The Israeli, that's why many times I say Israeli. It's not Hebrew.
50s, in early 50s?
Yeah, 1948, when they came from the war, from the Second World War II. They had nowhere to run. Israel opened their doors to them, and the establishers was against the Torah. The top of them was Herzl.
Pagan.
Shem Reshaim Irkav.
Rabbi, this
Was a
is
big
interesting,
Rasha also,
the
Herzl.
situation of Israel.
He wrote a book, you know that. Herzl. He said, I wish my children will get married to Christians.
Really?
Yeah, it's written. His book, Herzl's book. I wish my children will marry off Christians. And that's what happened. His wish came true. So that's why many times when you read Torah, don't ask an Israeli what does it mean. Sometimes he's going to tell you his definition of things. But that's not what the Torah definition of things is. So, back to us, רבותיי, we finish off. ואונקלוס תרגם לשון עשרה, כמו לא ימוש בתר דיעלה יקבל אליה, כשיגיע סמוך לאור היום, אבל אין הדיבור מיושב, אוקיי? ומדרש אגדה פותרו, לשון ממשו בצלם שהיה כפול ומכופל ועב עד שהיה בו ממש. He says, now, do you know the darkness of Egypt, the Torah says, was tangible. Tangible. Can you touch darkness? You go to a dark room, is it tangible? It says in Egypt the darkness was so strong. Vayimesh choshech. Vayimesh, you can touch it. Touch choshech. That's how bad the choshech was. And what's the reason Hashem punished them with such a thing? Meanwhile, all the 80% that didn't believe they're coming out of Egypt, and this time Hashem didn't want to disrespect them. At that time, they all buried their relatives that passed away in Makat Choshech. 80%. You know what they're talking about? Talking about at least 12 million people. If about 3 million came out, that was 20%. So what it is, another 80%? About 12 million people in 1 week all died. 3 days, they all took them to bury them.
Wait,
12 million people.
they died.
They all died. 80% Jewish people died. Whoever didn't believe, Mashiach. You know how many years I heard this Mashiach? When I was a baby, my grandfather said, one day we're going to come out of Egypt. I'm already 70 years old. Where is Mashiach? It is Kaski. Or my grandfather, when he was a child, his grandfather also said the same story to him.
He didn't come to me, Rabbi.
Kakoi Mashiach, what are you talking about? You understand? The people didn't believe the Geulah. They did not see the Geulah. That's why we, Rabotai, never chas v'shalom downgrade in our eyes. Mashiach, when is Mashiach coming? Mashiach is coming now. How the song says, we want Mashiach now, Mashiach now. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hanan.